everybody, it's Andrea. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have another Pan Those Eyeshadows update for you all. I am going to be rolling some new shadows in, so I'm very excited about that. This project, of course, was started by Alexy, and I'll have all the usual links down below, but I usually like forget to say stuff, but just a little refresher on my personal rules for this project. Only 5 shadows at a time. I'm picking my shadows differently than I did last year. Last year I picked a certain number from palettes and a certain number from singles. This year I just alphabetized every single pan of eyeshadow or loose shadow or cream shadow. So when I pick, I'm picking from my alphabetized list, not setting a specific number of pans in a palette versus a single or liquid or whatever. And it hasn't been an issue so far, but I also am allowing myself to roll shades out if they are too similar to each other. So with that being said, I have hit my usage goal on one eyeshadow, I have hit pan on another shadow, and I have hit a bonus pan this month. So I'll start with my bonus pan, which comes from my Lorac Mega Pro 4, which is my Pan That palette this year. And you can see I have 4 pans so far in it, but this pan in Cool Taupe was the one that I hit this month. I was hoping to have pan in Dark Chocolate before I filmed this update, just to have an additional pan, but I haven't hit it yet. But I update this project on Instagram on the 2nd of the month, and I'm thinking that I will have pan in that by that update, so that will be a bonus pan for next month. So now into the actual shadows that are in this project. I'll do what I've been doing, give you the least used first, and then we'll just go from there. So the 2 that have been the least used this month were the 2 that I rolled in last update. So first, it is this Colored Rain single in Blue Magic. I've only used this 5 times, but I think you can see there is a bit of a dip forming. It is one of their metallic formulas, and their metallic formula is pretty, that's a terrible swatch, it's pretty creamy. So I have to be careful because it is easy to pick up more than you intend to use. But there is a swatch of it there. It's a very beautiful blue color, and I very much enjoy it. And then I have this Sydney Grace cream eyeshadow in the shade Alexandrite. I have also used this 5 times. This one, I can't remember if it's been once or twice that I use it as an actual eyeshadow, but I actually really like using this as a liner. So I think that might be where most of my uses for that one comes from, is as a liner. But oops, there's a swatch of it underneath. I'm trying to, it just looks mostly kind of bluish. I'm trying to get you to see the purple in it as well. It's like one of those purpley green kind of multi-chromes. And now my fingers are all stained. Maybe, whoops. Let's rub them on my pants. Okay. The next shadow that I've used, okay, I don't know how to word this. The next shadow I'm going to show you is the Splendor shade from my Lorac Shine Bright palette, and it's there. You can see I did hit pan in it. So I used this 6 more times this month, and I used it for a total of 19 times before I hit pan. Now, let me just say, the formulas are very different. So obviously this is a much softer formula. I do have Pan and Haze up here that I want to say I hit it in 2019. If I'm remembering correctly, that one took me like 60 plus, maybe 70 plus uses to hit pan on. So some of these Lorac mattes are very hard pressed, but usually I find that I wouldn't really even call them metallics, but the shimmer shadows are much softer, so they're a little bit easier to hit pan on. So that's, I'll do a swatch of that on my other hand. So this is the first shadow that's rolling out. I mean, it's a very pretty, like, coppery orangey color. So there's that. The next shadow that I'm going to roll out, because I have hit my 30 use mark on it, I've actually surpassed my 30 use mark on it, comes from my Frida Kahlo Ulta Beauty palette. I'm working on the shade Agave, which is the dark green. I mean, you'll see how deep that dip is. I tried so hard to hit pan on it, and it just wasn't happening. So I only needed to use the 7 more times to hit my 30 use goal to be able to roll it out. But I used it an additional 7 times. So I've used this 14 times this month. There's still no pan. It looks like it's so close. I might like low key keep working on this just because I do think it is so close, but I also don't want to keep it in the project, taking up a space that I could be working on like a shadow that has less use. So I am rolling it out, but I'm gonna like keep it in my little area of my makeup cabinet where I'm keeping things that I'm currently working on in projects. I'll probably keep it in there and then just try to remember to reach for it a couple more times, and hopefully I'll be able to hit pan. But I don't know what's going on out there. Whoops. But there is a swatch of that one. And then the last shadow, I could, if I really like worked at it, I could have rolled this one out this month as well, but it's okay. It'll just be in for 1 more month. It is this shadow from Sydney Grace in the shade Apricot. I think you'll be able to see it. There's a little dip. I've used this 16 times in the past month for a total of 23 times, so I only need to use it 7 more times. Like a couple of times I've paired it with Splendor on my lid, but what I've found I really like this for, and I'm not wearing it today, but is depending on like what shadows I'm picking for my 365 days of shadows, I will have like more of a neutrally brown or transition-y type color on my lower lash line, and then I'll top it with this. So I think that's why I'm seeing a dip, because if I was just using it as a lid shade, I don't think you would see really any use on it. But, whoops. I'm trying to actually remember swatches. So there is a swatch of that underneath the Alexandrite. So these are the 3 that are staying in this month. Now it's time to choose 2 more shadows, but really quickly, I will update you all on my pan percentage. So right now I have a total of 1,241 separate pans or individual eyeshadows, let's put it this way, because they're not all in pans. Out of that number, 1,184 eyeshadows actually have a pan or are actually in a pan. Out of those, I have 43 pans, which means my eyeshadow percentage is now at 3.63%. And at the end of last update, it was at 3.46%. So I moved up not quite 0.2%. Like these are like peanut numbers, but as long as it's moving up, I don't care by how little. Like, as long as it's moving up and not moving down, that's all I care about. So I think I should be able to hit 5% by the end of the year. That is my, like, I think that's going to be like my ultimate goal, because I mean, this is a little embarrassing. So, okay, so I have 1,198 shadows that are eligible for this project. I think it happened last time. I am working on quite a few eyeshadows. So if I happen to randomize an eyeshadow that I'm already working on in a different project, I will re-roll, so to speak. So I have the random number generator up on my Google, and I'm going to generate 2 numbers. So the first is number 193. I should probably write this down somewhere just so I remember. And then the second number is 434. So let's go see what those are. Make sure that I don't need to re-roll. So 193. 193 is Cloudberry from the Revolution Soph X palette. So I'm not currently working on that in a project, so that is going to be one of our new shades. And then number 434. Oops, too far. Oh dear. This one. Well, I'm swapping out a green for another green, but it's a different shade. So I'm going to go grab those 2 new shadows, and then I'll show you my new color story for next month. Okay, so the first new shadow comes from my Revolution Soph X palette, which, thanks to my lovely daughter, the lid is broken, so I have to be very, very careful with it. Let's see, Cloudberry is... Ooh. Well, we'll see. We'll see, because it might be kind of close to that apricot shade. I might need to redraw. Cloudberry is this like orangey shade, so we'll swatch it. I don't know. It's so, well, it's very similar, but Cloudberry is a matte, so I will probably keep it in because they will have different uses, and I do need a matte shadows in this project because I have all shimmers or metallics right now. So there's Cloudberry, so we're gonna keep that one in. We're gonna work on that one. That'll be like a really good transition shade that I can use pretty much every day, so that'll be nice. And then the second shadow that I randomized is from my Juvia's Place Zulu palette, and I rolled in this lovely green right in the middle here. This palette I've used like maybe a couple times. I honestly, looking at this shadow, I don't even know if I've used it once. So it's very limey, very appropriate for the season though. So that is my new color story. Actually, like, not bad at all. Like, obviously these 2 are going to pair really well. I think this matte will actually just pair with pretty much everything. And obviously the green and the blue are going to look really nice together. So I have definitely had worse color stories. I'm fairly happy with this. I think next month though, I'm only going to be able to roll apricot out. I mean, this is brand new, never been used except for me just swatching it right now. So that's definitely not going to have pan. The Cloudberry will probably take a couple months because I do have pan in one other shadow. Oh my gosh, I'm so annoyed that this thing is broken. I have pan in one other shadow in the shade Pug, and I would have to look back in my notebook to see how many uses it took for pan, but I feel like that maybe 2 months I could hit pan on that, especially if I'm using it as a transition color most days. And then The only other one, and I'd really have to step up my usage, is this Blue Magic, because like I said, it's a very soft, creamy formula, so I think it might be a little easier to hit pan on that one, but as long as I have at least one to roll out next month, I'm fine with it. So this is my new color story. This was my Pan Those Eyeshadows update. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you're doing this project this year. Has it been going well for you? Like, I feel like it's been going fairly well for me. I've been able to roll a new shadow in, at least one new shadow in every single update, which is honestly my goal. Like, obviously I want to hit pan, but even usage goals, like that's the fun of these kind of projects, is having something roll in every single month. So as I said before, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're staying safe and sane and healthy, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.